Okay, we are live.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so I would like to call the Salary Commission meeting to order on October 30th, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. We can go ahead and start with a roll call, please.
Yes. Commissioner Huber.
Present.
Commissioner Hord.
Present.
Commissioner Hampton.
Present.
Commissioner Ben.
Present.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Present. It's just not working well for me today.
Sound like a ribbit.
All right, so everyone is here, which is wonderful. So I think in terms of what is on the agenda tonight, we are gonna jump right into our discussion. So I'd like to open up the floor if anybody has any points they'd like to make, or Commissioner Hord or Commissioner Bain, if there's any questions you have from last meeting.
So these scenarios on this printout, is that from the discussion last week?
Yes,
Okay.
that scenario. So scenario one, and Anya, correct me if I'm wrong, but that one was already up there. That was just doing the recommended non-rep COLA of 3.24% increase and just kind of how it all panned out. And then the scenario two did come from last meeting. So the mayor still was at the 3.24, but we kind of wanted to discuss possibly something less than that for council. And that discussion was all kind of based off of, we were looking at what the average was for the council raises last year on kind of all these comparative cities, and it was substantially lower. And we discussed kind of the whole idea, the mayor's part-time cost of living is affected because, you know, his opportunity to earn money is taken up by his full-time job, whereas council is more of a part-time position. So does a full cost of living adjustment make sense? Or is there something place we want to land that's different?
Great, thank you.
And and it is 2.56 is what the percentage comes out to. Okay. And how many council members are there? Is it
7?
Oh, 7. Okay.
I don't know. There's not that big of a difference between the 3.24% or the $25 for council members.
Yeah, it's not super substantial.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think the $25, when we were kind of landing on, okay, if we pick something less than 3.24, how do we get to a number? And I think one thing that was thrown out, it was like, well, right now they're at 975. What about an even 1,000? Yeah. And so that's kind of how we got to 25. So it's by no means something that I think we feel really strongly about. We were just trying to figure out what could be a lesser number.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it rounds it out, makes it even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Easier for Anya to add up.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing the math, Miss Anya, and making the 25 equivalent to 2.56%, because I had put forward just a concern for our neighbors and other citizens here around Lake Stevens, because we have a good number of senior citizens, elderly, some disabled, but folks typically on a fixed income. And things are just exorbitantly expensive. We know this. We all go to the gas station. We all go to the grocery store. And I looked up today what the cost of living adjustment for Social Security was today. Found out it was 2.5%. And so this $25 number seems to be right in line with that. And maybe we want to have more discussion. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but I would be in line with that $25 amount for council based on that. And trying to take the totality of our citizens and residents in Lake Stevens into consideration.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I agree.
I also feel comfortable with the sorry, the 25. Every time I talk, I feel like it gets worse. And Commissioner Huber, is that something that you feel good with for council as well?
I think it was my $25 thought, so.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Right.
So it kind of sounds like we all have a good feeling then for council members, and at this point probably can move towards discussing the mayor more heavily. Does that sound good with everyone? Wonderful. Sorry, I have too many things here.
And so I'm guessing that the recommendation to follow the non-represented cost of living came up last week
Mm-hmm.
per like our very robust discussions last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. We definitely did discuss it. We did also talk, I'd say we looked, we were looking at sales tax quite a bit, wondering like, how come, maybe a jump wasn't as substantial as we were hoping to see from Costco, with the idea in our head, like, oh, Costco's going to come in and really vamp that number up. And it definitely increased, but it wasn't super substantial. And another point that we all kind of left on, which we didn't necessarily have too much discussion, but it was kind of like, maybe we need to go and try to listen to the budget meeting, which had happened, I want to say only like a day prior to us having our first meeting, to see that budget proposal that city council did in the public hearing. I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at any of that and has any thoughts on it.
I did not.
I was not able to. Apologies.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
So I did heed Anya's warning and not start listening until about 8:05, which I really appreciated because when in the beginning I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with anything that we're looking at. And so it was probably about like a 25-minute presentation that they did discussing it. I will say, kind of the facts that Anya lays out for us, which is really nice, that they discussed how for all non-represented staff, they were going to go with the 3.24. Police Guild was 3, right? So all those numbers that we saw, which Police Guild is at 3. Another group of the police officers, and I'm not going to say their name right, is under negotiations. And Teamsters were also at like 3.24. So it was all
Right in line.
right there. They were talking about hiring too, and how they have some jobs in Q1, right? And possibly moving some to Q3. And then it also looked like, when I take a look at like the wages and like the 2024 budget versus like how it's ending, they're under budget. And from what I understand, that it was likely because of vacancies. I listened, I heard, I watched it.
Doing good.
So, nothing really jumped out too much to me. I wonder, if we all of a sudden got like a roaring of all these people who wanted to fill all these vacancies, would the budget in any way be in trouble? But it seemed like most of that was accounted for and with timing. So the only thing that I think could be, which would be out of our hands because at that time it's Q2 of next year. And that would be something I think for us to consider for the next year. It looked like it was in pretty good health from my perspective. But that was what I got.
I'll throw this out there. I'm not real good at math, but I looked at the total raises for the total year of what it would cost was $6,100, which is 0.1% of 1% of the entire sales tax. And I appreciate that we need to watch our pennies, but we're literally a rounding error is what we're talking about here for the raises. Is my math completely out of line there? So $6,000 for the entire year, I think, for raises for both city council and the mayor. Is that what I read at the end of scenario 2? Annual cost to be $4,000 for the mayor and $2,100 for the city council. That's so 0.1% of 1% of this total sales tax. Okay, just want to make sure we're
Well, wait a minute.
when we're
So,
because 1% would be it's $6 million, $6 billion. Might even be less than that.
I'm not sure we have all the, oh, the new annual is 12, right? Okay.
So I'm
Um,
the impact to the budget is nil, is what I'm saying. So I don't think we need to delve too far into this. I think our main duty as a commission is to make sure the mayor and the city council do not give themselves absorbent raises. And that's the function of this commission, not to delve into the nitty-gritty of the budget per se. That's already kind of been done.
Yeah.
We're to make sure that they're fairly compensated and aren't overly compensated by any one party leveraging anyone else. And I think this is my 3rd year here. I think we've done a really good job of that. This is probably the lowest year we've done as far as like 3.24%. So I don't want to get too wrapped up in these numbers too far, because we're talking about $6,000. It would be a huge hit to my budget maybe, but I don't know that it's going to affect this budget at all.
may
Yeah,
I?
absolutely.
I want to make sure that I'm understanding. So, total council, if we increase by 25 to make it around 1,000, times 7 people per month, 7,000 times 12, that's 84,000 a year.
For who?
Yeah, this
Council.
is just showing the increases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just doing
Yeah.
the increase, so like.
I'm
the-
just saying it's an increase of 6,000
So
oh,
that,
over last year.
so he's grabbing that 2,100 in scenario 2. Do you see that total cost for all?
Council members.
Because that is the 25 times 12.
Is my math correct or close anyway?
Yes. Yeah, so that's kind of like the 2,100 is the incremental.
Okay. Maybe I
Yeah.
just heard
Yeah,
the line.
no, I wasn't
correct.
saying the total cost of it.
I'm thinking, wait a minute, my numbers are way different.
So I just wanted to keep things in perspective in that regard.
No, I agree, and I appreciate that too. I think that scenario 2, it seems to make more sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
With us not getting deep into the weeds, like you said, of the budget, but kind of forming the increase across really what the city is doing as well in other areas. So I do think even as far as just the mayor's increase in the city council, I think scenario 2 looks really good.
I would say too, just another like number I compared looking at the mayor's. So the new monthly salary, right, of 10,000, let's say 620. Just comparing it to the median, right? We're still a little below the median. And below the average, but not by much. And so I think, it's not like like you said, we're putting it in some perspective where all of a sudden it's way high, way out of line.
Right.
I would agree that I find scenario 2 to be fair, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I think scenario 2 with the mayor increase of 3.24 is very fair. It keeps us in line. I mean, when you look at some comparables, right, like it gets the mayor a little over like Mount Vernon, right? That's the closest like comparison. But we do have a little bit more in AV, so it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they'll likely do some sort of change to their mayor's salary too, which we can't necessarily forecast, but yeah,
I mean, yeah, but when you.
even so, right?
Even, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we can't. I mean, we can compare ourselves to Edmonds, but we don't bring in the same as they do.
Yeah.
In terms of like revenues.
Sure.
So. You know, I would say Edmonds is our closest, I mean, or. Glenwood.
They all have huge.
Yeah, it's just
We-
hard
we-
because
we
like you
just-
said, their sales tax is
Yeah.
astronomical.
Sure.
They
They're
just have a little
definitely-
bit more to spend.
Yeah,
Right, but I think even if we proposed the 10-6 or the. Yeah, the 10-6 every month, like,
mhm.
that's within a comfortable range, I think. I think it's equitable.
Mhm. I agree. It puts it right between average and median. So, or a little bit below median,
Mhm.
but I still think that it absolutely is comparable.
So I mean, would be as comfortable to say, let's go with scenario 2.
Mhm.
I don't know,
Mhm.
unless there's other point of discussion or things to consider. To your point, I mean, we've done this together as a team for 3 years. We've
Yeah.
made good decisions to get us where we are. I think we set ourselves up to make these decisions for the foreseeable future unless things dramatically change, right? Set up ourselves up to move pretty nicely through these decisions.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think it helps that we all kind of focus on this as a position, not a person. Not specific to anybody individually, but just the role, the responsibilities, the things that they have to do. I think that's what's kept us all kind of flowing really well when it comes to that. So
Agreed.
I do agree. I agree. A scenario 2 is the best option that I feel is the best option.
So I think then if it sounds like we are all in agreement, what would need to be put forward, correct me if
Are
I'm
you-
wrong,
Michelle?
is a motion?
Okay with it? I didn't hear much from you, so I want to make sure you have your voice too.
Well, thank you. I'm taking it all in, hearing what you're saying. I would really like our sales tax to be higher.
Our what?
But I know that takes time.
Sales tax.
And it takes, these other places that we're comparing to have much broader swaths of business areas and ongoing businesses. So. But I don't really see a different avenue. So I hear you. You all are making sense. And so I will say I am in agreement with scenario 2.
I think just for you two, we did put another meeting on, I think you got an invite for it. That was kind of a tentative one if we didn't feel, if we felt like there were some things we still needed to look into or anything like that. But if we leave here and we feel confident in what we want to present at the public hearing, we can skip that next meeting or cancel that next meeting and go, what's the date?
November 21st.
November 21st is what we kind of had slated for the public hearing, which we do want to make sure it actually works with your schedules.
Last time was this fluke for me. It wasn't something that was supposed to have happened. And it's on my calendar and it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
I have, since last meeting, I've
Had
had
something.
something else come up for the 21st.
Mm.
Was there a conflict on the 20th?
Yes,
With
the
this-
the room,
the
I
room.
think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which-
I have a conflict the 21st too. I didn't
Okay.
realize it was a
Mhm.
Thursday.
Mhm.
Let me look.
Because I think that's really the next thing we need to nail down, is getting that public hearing. We have to have enough notice to the public as well as enough time for us to be able to sign it in.
But as long as there's a quorum, right? Three people?
Yeah, but I think the other option, even if we can't use this room, is the smaller room, so we can all be there. It just, can't hold the hordes of
Oh, yeah.
people we
All the people
expect,
that are
but
gonna
it could hold a couple public.
And if anyone wants to join us on November 21st.
Well,
We would love for that.
Yeah,
What-
the.
Or,
Yeah.
we had November 6th too,
Is it
correct?
the 22nd as well?
No, that's a Friday.
might there be another
I want to hang with
option?
you guys on a Friday night.
Yeah,
If we do not need the next commission meeting on the sixth
Sixth.
that we had penciled in case we needed further discussion, if we don't need that, then can we not count is it 2 weeks from 2 weeks notice
Mhm.
from tonight and move it up a week, maybe the 13th?
I'm in Illinois from the 12th through the 15th.
I was gonna say, I feel
Oh,
like something was
okay.
wrong with that. And you're
Yeah,
also
I'm
gone that
I'm gone.
week,
Yeah,
the 11th.
Never mind.
We can do the 20th in the conference room. And I think that'd be fine if we have more than 3 people of the public and we have like our record, then we have the lobby area that they can still hear the meeting, and if they want to come in for the public hearing, they can.
Is everybody's calendar looking okay on
Yep.
Wednesday?
Yes, Wednesday the 20th is there
Yep.
for me as well.
Yep.
roughly, that's right.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock again.
Mhm.
Is that okay with you, Ms. Sonia?
Yep.
Do you think that's good for the general public? Do you think
Well,
that-
otherwise it would be the weekend after, and that's Thanksgiving week.
Thanksgiving week.
I meant
Oh.
the 6 o'clock.
Oh.
Like, do we think it needs to be a little bit later or?
Hmm.
I
That's a
think all
good
of our
point.
council meetings are at 6.
Okay,
Wow.
so that's a pretty standard time. Okay.
And they can zoom in too, right? So there's that option if.
Yeah. Okay, so the 20th
Mhm.
in conference room A.
And that's up in the building up there, right?
Yep.
At City Hall. And we are taking the meeting on November 6th off calendar. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm hearing yes.
Yes.
Sorry, conference room A, is that here or that's in
It's
a
up,
different?
it's up in the.
In the
It's up
City
here
Hall
in
building.
The portables.
In that
The huge.
blue
city
building.
hall.
Okay, I've never been there. Well,
City
it'll
Hall.
be a new
Yeah.
experience.
I'll give you a tour.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Tour City Hall.
See if
Welcome.
there's any gifts on the front porch.
And you'll send out calendar changes?
Yes. I will. And you don't need to answer your question. You don't need any motion to move that scenario forward. We'll just do that
We
at the public
motion it at the
hearing,
public
and
hearing.
then I'll bring the meeting minutes from last week as an action item before the public
I also
hearing.
did not sign the
I have
previous
them right
ones.
here.
Yes, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that, so I apologize. All right, so if nobody has then any further business, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I move to adjourn the salary commission meeting.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. The Salary Commission meeting on October 30th, 2024 is adjourned at 6:24 p.m.
Efficient.
Very.